Thank you for taking the time to watch this. We have something really exciting we wanted to share with you and tell you about, but before we do, I want to take just a couple of quick minutes and share with you a couple of things about why we do what we do each and every week here at VKids. There may be a number of different reasons why you're here at Victory Life. Maybe you grew up going to church every Sunday. Maybe something happened in your life where you heard a spiritual truth in a way that you've never heard before. Maybe you've met someone who introduced you to God and you've experienced something that has changed your life. For whatever reason, we believe that God has you here for a reason and for a purpose, and we believe that you bring your children to us, not to leave them for an hour, but we believe that you really want your children to grow spiritually and to get a better understanding of who God really is. The truth is, we want the same thing for your child. That's why we're here. That's why we got involved in ministry. That's why we prepare all week long for Sunday. I mean, we sit through meetings, we attend conferences, we read books, we read magazines, we scour and search for every resource that we can, because we want to make the most out of every opportunity that we have with your child, and we want to be intentional with it. We want to help them know what it means to have a relationship with God. We want to make the most of our time with your children, but in reality, the truth is, our time is pretty limited. In fact, it doesn't matter if we've got the coolest program in history, the most awesome environments, the most skilled volunteers, even the most rocking music. Our time with your child is still very limited. In fact, it's only a fraction. We get them for 1 hour of 168 hours in a week. Let's go back to this. Let's just say you're one of the most committed parents. You're going to be here every Sunday. You're not going to take a Sunday off to go to the lake. You're not going to take a Sunday off to go to a soccer tournament or to play in a baseball tournament or to watch a football game. You're not going to stay away because you've got pneumonia. I mean, you're going to be here every single week. Even if you were that committed, that parent, the reality is we're still only going to see about 40 hours in a year. Let me break that down a little further for you. This is amazing. Looking at national averages, in a given year, your child will spend over 676 hours playing video games. They'll spend more than 1,456 hours just watching TV. Now, I'm not saying those are bad things. I do them. My kids do them. But what I am saying is, when it comes to the spiritual development of our children, that's got to be our top priority. And I think that both you and I are saying the same thing. We've got to think outside of just Sunday mornings. Ironically, thinking outside of just Sunday mornings isn't a new idea at all. In fact, we can go clear back to the Old Testament, and we could find where there was this dude named Moses and some people named the Israelites where they'd already thought outside the box and how they could do this. In Deuteronomy chapter 6, we find this. It says the Israelites were standing and looking out at the land that God had promised them. And as these people were looking over the horizon and seeing this land, they're thinking, man, we were former slaves, and now we're going to be landowners. We were nomads, and now we're going to have a home. I mean, it was in that moment where they're thinking and dreaming and seeing the reality of what God's going to do in their lives. Something that they've had to wait for longer than we've ever had to wait for anything in our lives. In that moment, Moses gathers the people and he preaches this incredible sermon. It's found in Deuteronomy chapter 6. This is a powerful piece of scripture. And he gathers all the families and all the extended families together. And this is what he says. We find it chapter 6 of Deuteronomy, verses 5 through 7. He says, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. These commandments I give to you today are to be upon your hearts." Listen to this. "Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road and when you lie down and when you get up." You see, these verses to me, they're simply amazing. They give clarity to what we believe family ministry is all about and what it should look like. You see, Moses didn't say, hey guys, listen, we need to talk about God's commandments every Sunday morning for an hour. And he didn't say, all right, listen, families, I want you to gather up each night for 30 minutes, do a family devotional. No, Moses was more practical. God had given him some great wisdom. He said, listen, look for the opportunities to talk about God with your families and with your children in the everyday moments of life that you're together. He said, when you sit at home. I mean, when you're sitting around, man, I hope there's an opportunity where you're sitting around, you're having a meal together with your family. Talk about what happened at school. Talk about what happened at church. Talk about what's happening in their lives. And it says, when you're traveling, I mean, come on, how much time are we spending in the car? I mean, it's the perfect time to talk about some spiritual truths with them. And you pop in a music CD that, some of the cool music that they listen to at church. I mean, worship together. Man, it's an awesome opportunity. And he says, listen, when you lie down and when you get up, look for those natural times where you can spend time talking about spiritual things just in the normal flow of your family. If I could wave a magic wand and cross the boundaries of this video, cross the boundaries of this DVD, man, I would. I would make it so that families would begin making these connections at home each and every day. But I'm not talking about filling up everybody's calendars with events and activities and filling up all the time slots on their calendar. No, I'm talking about being more intentional with the times that you have together as a family. I mean, how many of you share a meal together at least once a week? Or maybe you tuck your child in, into bed at night. It's in these moments they have the most unimaginable potential to make a huge impression on the heart of your child. And I'm telling you, on Sundays, absolutely nothing we do on Sundays can match what happens when you sit on the edge of your child's bed and you pray together. It could only be once. It could only be a couple of lines. But I'm telling you, when you are faithful, doing just the small things in the natural rhythm of your week, and you're helping connect your child to a relationship with God, man, the effects are powerful. Now, some of you, right now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, man, he's trying to put all of his job and push it all off onto us. No, that's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm thinking. I don't want you to think that. I'm telling you, I'm going to do everything I can to make the 40 hours of influence that we have with your children the best 40 hours, period. But part of making that 40 hours influence the best that they can possibly be means I'm going to resource you with tools to the best I can. And we're already doing that. We already started doing that. I mean, how many of you have seen the refrigerator door? You should have seen that come home every single week. On the refrigerator door, this is actually a summary of what happens every Sunday morning. And on here you'll find things like questions to ask your children on the way home. What was the story about? What was the main theme? What was the verse? And you also find activities that you could do as a family throughout the week. You see, it's what I call a parent cue, C-U-E, a parent cue. It's more like a help or a prompt for you. And that's what I'm really excited about. And this is why the whole purpose of this video, man, is because we got something new that we want to resource you with. And it's called the Cue Box. Get it, the Cue Box? It's a cue or a prompt to help you. The Cue Box is designed to create energy around all the ideas that we talk about on Sunday morning. And it will help you keep your child talking and learning about the same thing that they heard here on Sunday all week long. In fact, it should have your child asking you to spend more time with them together learning about these things. Now, you're going to be noticing that on Sunday mornings we're talking a lot about virtues. We've set up our curriculum in this way just because we want to make sure your child is not only learning and hearing the Bible stories that we teach every Sunday morning, but that they learn who God wants them to become. We believe that we're raising the bar for life application. We say that a virtue is what God is doing in you to change the world around you. So it's part of our plan to look at some of the virtues, that Jesus taught. Virtues like respect, kindness, compassion, humility, wisdom. And we want your child to help understand that God is a God who wants to develop these things in their lives so that they can impact the world around them. The Q box follows these same virtues that we're talking about on Sunday mornings, and they're based on our teaching that we have each month, and it will dive into a virtue and demonstrate how it can be lived out in you and in your child's life, all throughout the entire month. To give you guys a better idea of what I'm talking about, the next video segment that you'll see on this DVD explains all of the pieces and all of the parts that go into the Q box and what it really is. We want and we are going to keep creating Sunday morning experiences that are intentional and totally amazing. But just know, as church leaders, our time of influence is about 40 hours in a year with your child. You as a parent, you have over 3,000 hours. And that's why we feel we've got to continue to resource you and to power you up and give you great parent cues, CUE, those great parent cues that are going to help you take your time together with your family and be the most intentional with it. For some of you, that's going to mean that you're simply going to start praying together. Maybe for some of you, it's going to be taking that refrigerator door and you're going to start asking your child questions on the way home, engaging them in conversation about what they just learned. Maybe for some of you, it's getting one of the Q boxes and keeping your child totally excited all month long about the virtue that they're hearing on Sunday mornings. But we know that it's going to all depend upon the involvement of you as a parent. That's totally critical. And so that's why we want to know that as a church, as the V Kids ministry, as Victory Life, we want to empower you and to say that we are here to partner with you, to be your best cheerleader, to say, man, parents, it's time for us to start connecting our kids' hearts with the heart of God and to helping them do the mission that God has planned for them. Let's do it together. So take some parent cues. Start today. Pray with your child. Find that refrigerator door. Man, pick up a Q box. And if you've got any questions at all, call me. Our phone number at the church is area code 806-698-6553, or my email address is timl@victorylife.net. Man, I'd love to answer any questions that you have. Watch the next video segment, see what's in the Q box, and then stop by on Sunday and pick up yours. All right? God bless.